Welcome back, Post Birdie Podcast with your host, Jeremy Schneider. With me, as always, Birdie Bill Persecki, our tour director here in Chicago. Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Good to be here.
Coming off a tournament about a week and a half ago out at Arrowhead. What'd you think of the course?
Thought the course was in great shape. Didn't play too difficult, I thought. Somehow I remember that course being more difficult, or maybe I just didn't play it that well the last time we played it. I'm not sure. But I personally didn't think it played that difficult. I think the scores reflected that, at least through some of the lower flights. But it was in phenomenal shape. I thought they were great hosts as always. We didn't play there last year, but Arrowhead's been a regular stop on this tour in years past. So good to get back out there, and had great weather. Been having pretty good weather all season. So a little hot, I remember, throughout the afternoon because we played in the afternoon. But no, I thought it was a great day all in all.
Yeah, the back nine, that south nine, you get on that far south side and there's just no air movement there. And it was
Back in the corner, that one par four that goes like that short par four and you hit down the hill to the green. And yeah, you're back in that corner and there's not a lot of wind back there. So yeah, it got a little warm, but I don't know. Can't complain too much. We're playing golf and we only have, 7 months of the year or so to do that in Chicago. So all good.
And you're right about the weather. We've had great weather the entire year so far. Going to the winners in Champ Flight, we had a playoff.
Yeah, between two of our regulars, Luke Bohm, Jake Gary, playing it off. It's funny. I think the two of them have both been in their fair share of playoffs, but I don't recall them ever being in a playoff together. So that was fun to see, and it was a good playoff too. They went 2 holes. First hole, Jake played a pretty standard drive down the middle of the green, second shot on the green, 2 putts, and Luke made a par the Luke way, hitting it into the trees on the left and then punching out and then hitting his third shot to 10 feet or so and then making the putt to save the par. And then on 2, they both were in the fairway and both hit not great second shots into the green. But Jake was able to get it up and down for par. Luke did not. And that was it. So Jake, I know Jake has been concerned about getting a win this year with Matt Payne joining the Champ Flight this year and taking all the trophies seemingly. But Jake finally got one. So he's been in the winner's circle a lot over the past couple years and finally got back in it this year.
Yeah, moving down to A Flight, Matt Forcali. I just want to point out, since we did the interview after the Silver Lakes, day 1, I interviewed him and I told him my daughter loves the candy. He started bringing me candy. He brought it that next day. Since then, if you take a look at his scores, he shot 72 that day. He shot 3 weeks ago. He shot 74 at McRae in one. He shot 76 at Arrowhead in one. And then he just shot 77 up in Michigan and one. So he is on a heater over the last 2 months since he started bringing my daughter candy.
So there's something to that then. Yeah, he's playing some great golf. And you're right, ever since Silver Lake, which was, 2 months ago now, he's been playing some phenomenal golf, and he's almost playing too good a golf because he's at risk now of bumping up to Champ Flight. And I know we'll talk about the points race here in a little bit, but he's on a tear. I mean, it's not. I meant to look this up or see if I remember to do this, I will. I meant to see if we could get somebody in our national office to look at this. I'm not sure how many people on this tour have ever won 3 tournaments in 3 consecutive weeks. And he's done that, winning McRae, then Arrowhead, and then winning up in Michigan. There can't be that many people. I know we have like 5,000 members nationwide or something like that, but there can't be that many people who have won 3 weeks in a row, and especially on, multiple different tours with big fields too. I mean, I know we had a smaller field at Arrowhead, but we had a decent sized A flight at McRae, and then up in Michigan, I think they had like 17 people or something like that in the A flight for that tournament. So no, he's playing awesome, and that's win number. So he's got 4 wins on the season, the past 3 weeks, and then he's got the win back in February down in South Carolina as well.
The one up in Michigan, I don't know anything about it other than I saw the score, and it looked like there was a 4-way playoff, and he ended up winning in the playoff.
Yeah, he did. And he was behind too. I think I'm not sure what happened. That somebody was, because I was kind of following the leaderboard, and he was up there early. He was even par through like 7 or so, I want to say. And then made a few bogeys, and all of a sudden he was like 6 over. And the lead was like 1 or 2 over. So somebody, I'm not sure who, somebody from the Michigan tour, somebody made some bogeys on the way in and dropped down, and he was able to get a late birdie. I think he birdied either 16 or 17 to sneak back up to 5 over, and came in the clubhouse at 5 over and got in the playoff and won it. So just sort of a testament to, you know, staying in it, because even if you think you're out of it, you might not be. He was like 4 shots back with like 5 or 6 to play, and eventually got in the playoff and won it. So got to stay in it. Never know what can happen.
Well, that's why we're A flight. We're scratch golfers on 14 holes, and on 4 holes, we're B flighters. And that's what makes us A flighters.
That's kind of what happened with him. He had his bad holes somewhere in the middle of that round, and the guy who had the lead late had his bad holes late, and all of a sudden they wind up tied, and a couple other guys in there too. And I don't know what happened in the playoff. I wasn't there. I was just getting this, secondhand from Matt, and Luke was there too, and I was texting with Michelle, the Michigan director, as well. So all I know is they was more than one hole. I know they went a couple holes, but he got it. So yeah, 3 in a row.
Luke was there. He also won. There was 2 Chicago guys, 2 wins,
Yeah,
champ flight and A flight.
yeah, 5 flights in that Michigan tournament, and 2 winners from Chicago. So not a bad return for a little road trip for them last weekend.
Moving down to B flight in the Arrowhead tournament, we had the round of the day coming from Leo.
Yeah, Leo Toyota throwing up a 74 in the B flight, which was our lowest score of the day, to your point. Also the lowest score we've had in B flight all year long. We haven't seen a 74. We've seen some scores in the 70s, but not a 74. And he made a couple late birdies too to pull ahead. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe he birdied 2 of the last 4. I think he finished birdie, par, birdie, because he was around the lead or tied for the lead. And Mike Preplica, I know, was in the clubhouse, shot 77, and he was in one of the first groups off in B flight. So he set the lead and was in the clubhouse just kind of waiting to see what would happen. And then Leo made a couple late birdies and took it. But yeah, heck of a round for B flight 74.
Yeah, Mike has been near the top of the leaderboard a handful of times, but just hasn't pulled out the win quite yet.
Yeah,
Been
he's
in a
been playing some
playoff a
good
couple
golf for
times.
sure. Yeah.
Moving down to C flight, 3rd-time winner this year in C flight for Stan.
Stan Mitchell, yeah. Taking home, to your point, trophy number 2. Good score as well for C flight, shooting an 81. A lot of good scores again in this flight. So 81, Andy Quinton was in second with 83. Then we had multiple people shoot 84. So we had a scorecard playoff for 3rd place. But, I'm looking at the results here. Out of 12 guys in the C flight, we had 7 out of 12 guys in the 80s. So a lot of good scoring in the C flight, but Stan takes it home and earns himself a promotion to B flight with his 81. I don't know if he wanted the promotion in B flight or not. I sent him a message to let him know that he got promoted, and he basically said, yeah, I figured that would happen, but he said he's looking forward to competing in the B flight. But if he's shooting 81 and the first round at Silver Lakes, it was either 78 or 79. So if he's putting up those scores, he can compete in B flight. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, win number 3 and a pretty good round on the day for Stan.
Now moving down to D flight, back-to-back winner again, McRae and Arrowhead for Tyrone.
Yeah, Tyrone pulling out the one-shot victory, shooting 90. And yeah, to your point, just like Matt Pocali, back-to-back winner at McRae and then Arrowhead. And that's given him quite the bump in the points race. Like I said, I know we're going to talk points race later, but he's chasing it down, picking up 900 points in 2 weeks there. But another just solid round from him on the day.
Speaking of points race, back to the champ flight. The guy that's just been rolling all year, Luke Baum, still in first place. Looks like you've overtaken Matthew Payne for second place. The return of Matthew Payne this week.
This weekend, yeah. So my spot in second might be short-lived with Matthew Payne back in the field this week. We'll see. But yeah, Luke's got quite the lead as he's had all year.
Jake Gary, with his win, is in fourth place, and Larry Amek has been playing excellent golf, and he's in fifth place in the champ flight. Moving down to A flight, Matt Fricali on a heater is pulled out to a pretty substantial lead in A flight at this point. I'm holding down the second spot. Kale, who, plain and simple, Kale is the best player in A flight, and I play with him at Arrowhead. I asked him if he keeps a regular index and what his regular index is. And he's like, I've played one round outside of Golf Week the entire year so far. And he's played literally.
Well, his index would be lower then because like his index on tour is 4.5 on our tour. But we do, half an like best 8 of your last 16, or I don't even know if he has 16 rounds in. He probably doesn't. So, it'll be best 6 out of 12 or 7 out of 14, something like that. But a gin would be 8 out of 20. So you'd be taking your better rounds out of there. So if anything, if he did keep a regular index, it would probably be lower than the 4.5 that he's got with us. It would probably be in a champ flight range, I'm guessing.
He's played 7 rounds on tour, which means he's only played 8 rounds in all of 2026. Just for reference, when he was in a playoff early in the year with Mason Schultz, and after he hit his tee shot on 1 in the playoff, Luke said, "Holy expletive, Kale, stay in A flight." And that's the guy who's leading champ flight. That's how good of a ball striker Kale is. And Kale ended up losing the playoff, by the way, but that's how much that when he swings, that's what people think about.
He just strikes it so pure. Yeah, that's what I've heard is he just like every shot is just like center of the club and you can like hear it.
So Matt is by far playing better than anybody else in A flight, but Kale's still the best player in A flight. He just hasn't played enough. Down in fourth place, Justin Smith is hanging in there, and James Park is rounding out the top 5.
And all we've got out of that top 5 at our next tournament too is Matt and Kale. So because you're not playing, Justin's not playing, and James Park not playing as well. So opportunity for Matt to extend his lead a little bit, and for Kale to pick up a little bit of ground as well.
Moving down to B fight, Lewis, who's won a couple of times recently, is holding down the top spot in B flight. Paul, who Lewis beat in a playoff at McRae, he's in second. Mike, who's been playing fabulous for a while also, but just hasn't broken through and won yet. He's in third. Vincent is still in fourth, and Stan Mitchell, he's tied for fifth with Adrian Ayala.
And Bob Curran
And
as well. They're
actually,
tied for fifth. Yeah. And the only reason
yeah,
they're there is because the fifth place rule with getting bumped to a higher flight. So because Stan Mitchell and Adrian Ayala both got bumped to B flight after Arrowhead. So yeah, now they're all tied for fifth, but they're 1,000 points behind Luis, holding down the top spot. And
yeah.
Luis is always there at the top of the leaderboard in B flight. If he doesn't win, he's around the lead, or he's in the prize money someplace. And typically Chaplin is as well. So good race between the two of them. Not over yet. You still got Mike Prep down there, Vince Gressy hanging around, but good race in B for sure.
And they move into that fifth place spot, tied with Bob Curran, who was in fifth place. So they got their points reduced down to that fifth
Right.
place.
Right.
Just for perspective, the B flight starts at 9.0 for index. Luis has a 9.6 and Paul has a 9.1.
Right. So
So
they're
it's
close. It's
possible
close.
that both those guys get bumped to A flight before the end of the season with just
It is.
one good
Yeah.
round, really.
Yeah. All you need is really one good round. It depends on where you're. That's the thing too, is if you're playing good golf lately, right? Like Matt, this applies to Matt Folcali too in A flight because he's close. He's down to 4.2. So the way this works with the moving up in flight, if you're playing good golf, the past few weeks, then that means that if you play a good round, not only is that round potentially lower than your current index, but you might have a round from a year or two ago on the back end that now drops off because we're only taking your best 8 of your last 16. So if that round that drops off, let's say for like Paul Chaplin, let's say he shoots, something in the low 80s on Saturday at Blackstone, and he comes out with an index maybe somewhere around 9 or a differential somewhere around 9 for that round. But if he's got a round way, 2 years ago or last year, that's a differential of like 13, and let's say that drops off, he might be in A flight all of a sudden, right? So it's sort of like it's almost like playing your best golf over the past few weeks is good because maybe you're winning some tournaments, but you're also kind of you're running the risk that you're going to be in a different points race soon.
Yeah, moving down to C flight, Anthony is still holding down the top spot. He hasn't won yet, but he's been so close so many times.
He's been all around it, yeah.
And he's
Playoffs
just racking up the
and
points.
second, third place, yeah.
Drew is in second. Chris Bilba, the defending champion, is in third and still not out of it yet. Andy Quinton is in fourth, and Tom Mesher is in fifth.
The funny part about this too is that like we talk about all the time, it's all about just playing all the tournaments and playing as many tournaments as possible just to rack up the points is how you win the points race, because the top three people there, Anthony, Drew, and Chris, have all not won this year. And actually your fourth and fifth place people have. Andy Quinton has won because he won at Fire Lake and Deer Run, and Tom Mesher has won. He won at Pine Meadow. But Anthony, Drew, and Chris have no wins on the year, yet they are top three in the points race.
Moving down to D flight, Patrick Kelly, defending champion from last year, has got looks like a 150-point lead on Tyrone, who's back-to-back winner. And Tyrone, both Patrick Kelly and Tyrone are 19-6 right now, and it's 19-0. 18-9
That's
gets you
true.
into
That's
C
something to
flight.
watch out for too. Close.
Michael Taylor in third. Our guy Brad is in fourth, and Josip is in fifth.
And still not a lot of points separating them. I mean, Josip is in fifth, but he's only 860 points or so, just kind of eyeballing the math here. 800 and something points behind Pat Kelly, which is really not a lot. That's the difference between, if you win, that's 450, and if you finish fifth or sixth, that's 150, 160 points. You can easily pick up 300 points in one tournament, and we got a 2 day left as well. So 800 points separating that top five is really not a lot. And these five guys play in every tournament too. It's rare that one of them is not there at a tournament. So got a good race going in D as well, especially with your top two guys only point 0.6 away from potentially getting bumped. That's something they got to watch out for too.
And now this Saturday, we have a new course on the docket for us, Blackstone.
Yeah, getting back to Blackstone, and you had mentioned that we had played here some years back, and this was before I joined the tour. I've always wanted to play this course. I used to pass it by all the time. So I have a cousin who lives out that way. He lives out near Harvard, Illinois. And every time I go out to his house, which is not often, like maybe once a year or so, but every time I go out there, you go right past Blackstone. And it feels like every year I think to myself, or especially when my dad still lived here before he moved down to Florida, like every time we drive past this course, say, "Oh, we got to stop. One of these years, we got to stop there and play it." Like eventually, we got to stop and play around, and we just never got around to actually going there to play the course. So I always wanted to play it, and then had a couple people last year asking me about it. Have you heard of this course? We should take a drive out there and play it because it is kind of far out there. So excited to finally have it on the schedule this year. Like I said, I've never played it, but I looked at some, flyovers and stuff on like 18 birdies and whatnot. Looks like a great layout. Looks like a good mix of long and challenging holes, but then also it looks like a lot of shorter holes as well, where you kind of have to make a decision. Like, are you going to try to drive the green on a short par four? Are you going to lay up? You're going to try to go for this par five and two. You're going to lay up. So it looks like a lot of good holes where you got to make some decisions based on how you're playing and just based on how the round is going.
Yeah, I played it one time, and it wasn't in a tournament. I just had my dad and my two brothers, and we played out there. I don't know that we've played it on Golf Week. We definitely haven't since I've been involved with it. So I can't remember the last time that
I know we,
they've
I
hosted a
know we
tournament
must
for
have,
Golf Week,
we
if they
definitely
ever
played it
have.
because, and the only reason I know that is because it was in our system. Like when I make the schedule to book the courses and it was there, it was loaded. And the only reason it would be loaded in the system is if we had done a tournament there in some year in the past, because we've gone to courses that are brand new and I have to load everything in, like the tee boxes and the yardages and everything, and load the course in there. So it was there already. So I don't know what year we played it, but we have played it in the past. But and we had a pretty good turnout too. I mean, 52 people. We originally had 60, but signups were a little bit slower for this one, which I kind of expected because it's so far away. Uh, so we gave the course a couple times back, but we're able to fill out at 52. So we'll have 13 foursomes on Saturday afternoon. Weather looks great. Looks like it's going to be in the mid to high 80s, sunny skies, and should be another good day.
Well, what I remember from playing a couple years ago, the fairways were pretty open, but there was like the native fescue type grass on, you had some rough and then the native fescue type grass, but it
Yeah,
was actually pretty generous off the tee, if I remember right. And then the greens were very, very fast. These will be the fastest greens that we play all year if they keep them as fast as I mean, it's probably been 7 or 8 years since I played there. But when I talked to one of the guys that worked there, the one thing I remember is that the person who owns it always wanted the greens faster and faster and faster and faster, and they were being held back by the greenskeeper, but they were as fast as any private club that you'll play.
really.
So
Okay.
you'll
Yeah,
have
that
If they keep them that fast, it'll be a challenging day on the greens for you guys.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't mind fast greens personally, but it'll be if that's true, then it'll be one of those days where the person who stays below the hole most often is probably going to win. But yeah, we'll see. We'll have to report back on how they are.
Well, tell me who's going to be there.
We got pretty good champ flight, actually. We got 11 people in the champ flight. So we've got the usual suspects all back in champ. So, myself, Luke, Jake, Matt Payne is back. Mason Schultz will be there. Adam Elias is coming back, and he hasn't played since, I believe, 2023 with us. So he's finally coming back to champ flight, and he was always a guy who you had to watch out for to throw up a low number. So we no matter how fast or slow the greens are, I mean, we've got some pretty stiff competition in the champ flight on Saturday. It should be a good matchup. A flight, we've got Matt Fulcali back again, points race leader. Kale is there as well. Then a couple other familiar faces, Rich Potsamek, Robert Lesher, Jeff Kinney, a few others. But, the guys to watch out for there are obviously going to be Kale and Matt. Down in the B flight, pretty much your whole list of people at the top of the points race. Luis, Paul Chaplin, Bob Curran, Vince Gressy, Mike Preplica, Wally Bromberg, usual suspects in B, all coming back out and making the drive out to Blackstone. C flight is a little smaller for whatever reason, probably because a couple people got bumped since the last tournament. But we only got 6 in the C flight. So a good opportunity for Anthony to extend his lead or for Drew to catch him or Andy Quinton as well, all playing. So you still got, even with 6 people, you still got, 4 of the top 5 in the points race playing this tournament. And then down in D flight, our biggest flight as it usually is with 14 players. And again, all the usual suspects are there. Everybody in the top 5, Pat Kelly, Tyrone, Brad, Josip, everybody's there. Mike Taylor, Chris Cass will be back. I know she missed the last couple. Larry Bunge's coming out. He hasn't played, I think, since Thunderhawk. But another good list of players. And, once again, all the people who are at or near the top of the points race are playing. All 5 points race leaders are playing this tournament, as well as most of the people chasing them. So should be a good day.
All right. The one person that's not going to be there is myself. I have a 2-day tournament at my club that I'm playing Saturday and Sunday. So I will not be at Blackstone. I was looking forward to playing this event, but
you'll get your 360 points though from your win up in Milwaukee. So you'll get 80% of your 450 for that. So even by not showing up, you'll pick up 360, and which basically means that unless Matt wins, which he might because he's won 3 weeks in a row, but the only way you're not going to pick up points on Matt is if he wins. If he finishes second or worse, then you'll pick up some points on him. But he's got to be careful about getting bumped to champ though, with that 4.2 index. So I don't know what he has to shoot to stay in A, but I would guess, I would hazard a guess that if he shoots a score like he's been shooting, which is somewhere around 76, 77, something like that, I would bet money that if he shoots a score like that, again, he's got a good chance of winding up in the champ flight. But we'll see. Like you said, it's a tough course. Greens might be kind of fast, so never know.
You take a look at his scores early in the year, you take a look at his scores in the last 2 months. All of his bad rounds are at the beginning of the year, and all his good rounds are at the end of the year. So of those 16, I think he's played 16 rounds. So his entire year is at 4.2. And the scores that are going to be dropping off are the bad scores.
Are the bad scores, yeah.
Early in the year.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's not going to take.
It's going to take a high round to probably keep him in A, which, I'm not saying you want to see the guy play well. I mean, that would be a heck of an accomplishment to win 4 weeks in a row if he was able to do it. But if he does, then that could be it for him in the A flight. We'll see.
Which would leave Cale as the only winner of a Chicago event still left in A flight.
He was still in the A flight. Yeah. Isn't that
And
crazy?
the funny thing is, Cale has put up a bunch of good scores this year. It's not inconceivable for him to put up a good score and get
No, I
bumped
think
up also.
what did we just say? He was at 4.5, I
Something
believe
like
is his
that.
index. So yeah, you may wind up winning the points race by default if everybody around you just gets bumped up to champ. We'll see.
Well, like everybody that wins, Mason's gone. If Matt goes and then Cale goes, we're literally left with nobody in A flight who's won an event on the Chicago tour.
Yeah, that would be some wild stuff if that happens. But we'll see. Still got a lot of tournaments left, and I still got to go out there and play the round. So it should be a good day, though. I'm glad we're getting out to that course. Like I said, looks like we're going to have good weather. We'll have some good matchups for points race. So yeah, it should be a good day.
All right. Enjoy the round, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good.